The knock came at midnight. Beverly Anderson froze mid-step in her tiny cabin kitchen, the teacup trembling in her hand. Nobody came this far into the Montana woods. Not at this hour. Not ever. But that knock, it wasn't frantic or uncertain. It was deliberate, commanding, like whoever stood on the other side knew she'd answer. She set down the cup and moved toward the door, her heart hammering against her ribs. Through the frosted window, she saw him. Tall, impossibly broad-shouldered, his dark cloak dusted with snow. His face was half-shadowed by moonlight, but his eyes, God, those eyes, burned through the glass like molten gold. She knew those eyes. Beverly's breath caught. It couldn't be. 2 years. 2 years since that frozen February night when she'd found the massive black wolf bleeding out in the snow, his fur matted with blood, his breathing shallow. She dragged him inside, stitched his wounds with trembling hands, whispered promises she didn't think he could hear. 3 days she'd nursed him back to life. And then he was gone, vanished without a trace. Now he was back, but he wasn't a wolf anymore. Beverly opened the door. "Hello, Beverly," he said, his voice a low rumble that vibrated through her chest. "My name is Keith Wilson, and I owe you my life." She should have slammed the door, should have called for help, but the way he looked at her, like she was something precious, something sacred, rooted her to the spot. "You were the wolf," she whispered. Keith's jaw tightened. "I was dying. Rogues ambushed me during the Blood Moon trials. I barely made it across the border before I collapsed." He stepped closer, snowflakes melting in his dark hair. "You saved me. You didn't know what I was, but you saved me anyway." Beverly's mind raced. Shifters. She'd heard the stories growing up, whispered warnings about the packs in the northern mountains, the territorial wars, the ancient laws. But she'd never believed them. Not until now. "Why are you here?" Her voice came out steadier than she felt. Keith's expression darkened. "Because the rogues who tried to kill me, they know about you now, and they're coming." He didn't ask permission. He walked past her into the cabin, his presence filling the small space like a storm rolling in. Beverly shut the door, her pulse thundering. "I don't understand," she said. "Why would they come after me?" Keith turned, and for the first time, she saw the weight he carried. The exhaustion, the burden, the barely restrained power. "Because you're marked," he said quietly. "When you healed me, our bond formed. It's rare, almost unheard of between a human and an alpha. But it's real, and now they'll use you to get to me." Beverly's knees felt weak. "Marked? I didn't sign up for any of this." "I know." His voice softened, and he crossed the room in 2 strides, stopping just inches from her. "I know you didn't, and if I could undo it, if I could keep you safe by walking away, I would. But, Beverly, they've already picked up your scent. Running won't save you. The only way you survive this is if you stay with me." She looked up at him, at the raw honesty in his golden eyes, and something deep inside her shifted. This wasn't some fairy tale. This was survival. And whether she liked it or not, her quiet life in the woods had just shattered. "How long do we have?" she asked. Keith's expression turned grim. "Hours? Maybe less." If you're already hooked by Beverly and Keith's story, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. This is just the beginning, and it's about to get intense. Keith moved through her cabin like a predator assessing territory. He checked the windows, tested the locks, his movements fluid and controlled. Beverly watched him, her mind still reeling. "Tell me about this bond," she said. He paused, his back to her. "It's a soul tie, formed when a shifter is at their most. Vulnerable, and someone saves them with pure intent. No agenda, no expectation, just compassion. He turned to face her. You gave me that. And now, whether you realize it or not, I can feel you. Your fear, your confusion, your heartbeat. Beverly's breath hitched. That's invasive. It's also what's going to keep you alive. Keith's voice dropped. I can sense danger before it reaches you. I can protect you in ways no human ever could. But it goes both ways, Beverly. You're in my head, too. She didn't know what to say to that. Part of her wanted to scream, to rage against this cosmic injustice. But another part, a part she didn't want to acknowledge, felt a strange pull toward him, like recognition, like coming home. Why didn't you come back sooner? The question slipped out before she could stop it. Keith's expression cracked just for a moment. Because I was trying to protect you. I thought if I stayed away, if I severed the connection before it fully formed, you'd be safe. But I was wrong. The bond doesn't break. It only grows stronger. A howl pierced the night. Keith's head snapped toward the window, his body going rigid. They're here. Beverly's blood turned to ice. Keith was already moving, pulling weapons from beneath his cloak, silver daggers that gleamed in the firelight. Stay behind me, he commanded, positioning himself between her and the door. The howls grew closer, multiplying. 3, 5, more. Beverly's cabin was surrounded. How many? She whispered. Too many. Keith's voice was deadly calm. But they won't take you, I swear it. The door exploded inward. The first rogue came through in a blur of teeth and fur, a massive grey wolf with feral yellow eyes. Keith met it head-on, his body shifting mid-motion, bones cracking and reforming until the man became beast. His black wolf form was magnificent, terrifying, powerful beyond measure. Beverly pressed herself against the wall, watching in horror and awe as Keith fought with savage precision. 2 more rogues crashed through the windows. The cabin erupted into chaos, snarling, claws tearing through wood, blood spattering across the floor. Beverly, run! Keith's voice echoed in her mind, somehow reaching her through the violence. But she couldn't move, couldn't leave him. One of the rogues broke through Keith's defense, lunging straight for her. Time seemed to slow. She saw its jaws opening, saw death in its eyes. And then heat exploded through her chest. Not pain, power, the mark Keith had mentioned, the bond. It ignited like a wildfire. Light burst from her hands, pure and blinding, and the rogue yelped, crashing backward into the wall. The room went still. Keith stood frozen, his wolf form staring at her with something between shock and reverence. The surviving rogues scrambled back, whimpering, before fleeing into the night. Beverly looked down at her trembling hands. They still glowed faintly, like embers cooling. What the hell just happened? She breathed. Keith shifted back to human form, naked except for the shredded remains of his cloak. He didn't seem to notice. His golden eyes were locked on her, wide with disbelief. You're not just marked, he said hoarsely. You're awakened. I need you to stay with me here, because this story is about to take a turn you won't see coming. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do it now. Click that button and join our pack. You're going to want to know how this ends. Keith wrapped her in a blanket, his hands surprisingly gentle. The cabin was destroyed, blood and broken furniture everywhere, but all he cared about was her. Explain, Beverly demanded, her voice shaking. Explain what I am. Keith ran a hand through his hair, his expression tormented. There are legends, ancient stories about humans who carry dormant shifter bloodlines. It takes a catalyst to awaken them, usually a life or death situation combined with a soul bond. Beverly, you're not fully human. You never were. The words hit her like a freight train. That's impossible. My parents were human. I'm human. Somewhere in your ancestry there was a shifter, and that blood just woke up. Keith cupped her face, forcing her to meet his eyes. You saved my life 2 years ago, and tonight you saved it again. That power inside you, it recognized me as your alpha, as your mate. Mate. The word hung between them, heavy with meaning. Beverly pulled away, her mind spinning. I can't. This is too much. I don't even know how to... I'll teach you. Keith's voice was fierce, desperate. I'll teach you everything, but we have to leave. Now. Those rogues will come back with reinforcements, and next time, I might not be able to stop them. She looked at the ruins of her home, at the life she'd built in isolation, away from the world's complications. It was already gone. There was no going back. Where will we go? She asked quietly. Keith's expression softened. Home. To my pack. To the mountain crest. Territory. He hesitated. I should tell you. I'm not just any alpha, Beverly. I'm the Alpha King. My pack is the largest in North America. And when I bring you there as my mate, everything changes. The weight of that confession settled over her. This wasn't just about survival anymore. This was about destiny, about a future she'd never imagined. Beverly took a shaky breath and met his gaze. Then, I guess we'd better get going. They left before dawn, moving through the snow-covered forest with Keith leading the way. He'd given her a heavy coat, boots, supplies. But more than that, he'd given her his protection, his presence, his unwavering focus. As they walked, Beverly felt it, that bond Keith had described. It hummed beneath her skin, a constant awareness of him, his heartbeat, his thoughts, his emotions. And beneath all that careful control, she sensed his fear, not for himself. For her. Keith, she said softly. He stopped, turning to face her. What happens when we reach your pack? What happens to us? For a long moment, he just looked at her, moonlight catching the sharp angles of his face. Then he stepped closer, close enough that she could feel the heat radiating from his body. I've been alone for a long time, Beverly. Waited for something I wasn't sure existed. And then you appeared in my life. This fierce, compassionate, impossible woman who saved me when she had every reason to walk away. His voice dropped to a whisper. What happens is I claim you, protect you, worship you, and I spend every day proving I'm worthy of the gift you've given me. Beverly's heart clenched. She'd spent her whole life keeping people at arm's length, convinced she was better off alone. But standing here in the wilderness with this powerful, broken, devoted man, she felt something crack open inside her chest. I'm scared, she admitted. So am I. Keith's thumb brushed her cheek. But we'll figure it out. Together. We're almost at the end, but before we get there, if this story has grabbed you, if Beverly and Keith's journey has made you feel something, then please subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Because trust me, their story is far from over. 3 days later, they reached Mountain Crest territory. Beverly stood at the edge of the valley, staring down at the sprawling packlands below. Hundreds of cabins nestled among the pine trees. A massive lodge at the centre. Shifters moving through the settlement like a well-oiled machine. This was Keith's world, his kingdom. They'll challenge you, Keith said quietly beside her. Some will question your right to be here. Others will test you. Beverly straightened her shoulders. Let them. Keith smiled, a real, genuine smile that transformed his entire face. There's my queen. They descended together, and as they entered the territory, shifters emerged from their homes, watching, assessing. Beverly felt their eyes on her, felt the weight of their judgment, but she kept her head high, kept walking beside Keith like she belonged there. Because maybe, just maybe, she did. Their Alpha King had come home, and he'd brought his mate with him. Whatever came next, rival packs, internal challenges, the rogue still hunting them, they'd face it together, because that bond between them wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about love, about destiny, about two broken souls finding each other in the darkness and choosing to fight for their future. Beverly Anderson had rescued a dying wolf 2 years ago, and now, standing beside Keith Wilson as they faced their pack together, she realized something profound. He'd rescued her right back. That's Beverly and Keith's story, for now, but something tells me we haven't seen the last of them. If you want to know what happens when the rogues return, when the pack challenges Beverly's position, when the bond between them deepens into something even more powerful, you need to subscribe. Join our Lunar Mate Story family. Hit that button right now because the next chapter is coming and you won't want to miss it. Welcome to the pack.